What is up, guys? Frosty Osty 0232 here for another Frosty feature. One of the new characters coming to Marvel Strike Force in the team of Bionic Avengers is the Hulkbuster. So, what Frosty Features is a comic book background. I typically riff off of Marvel 616 and not necessarily MCU, though I do like to talk about the MCU. We're going to talk about Marvel 616 comics and just kind of give you a background on the character. Hulkbuster isn't exactly a character, so I've changed up a little bit of the format to kind of just give you more information on how the Hulkbuster works, or just things like that. So anyway, sit tight. This is the lore of the Hulkbuster, one of the newest characters coming to Marvel Strike Force. Let's go. Alright, this is a picture of a Hulkbuster. This is the Hulkbuster that the MCU Hulkbuster is based off of. We're going to say a lot of numbers and a lot of models and a lot of marks. Okay, so name Mark 13, Mark 34 in the MCU. So Mark 13 in the comics, Mark 34 in the MCU is what we're looking at. Like I said, it's based off, and they're not exactly the same, but that's your closest equivalent. But in the 616 is Mark 13. The Hulkbuster armors, are armors made by Iron Man. So Iron Man, Tony Stark, makes the Hulkbuster armors to be a countermeasure to Hulk when Hulk kind of loses his stuff. Hulk famously being extremely strong and needing some sort of backup because he gets stronger as he gets more angry. Therefore, whatever the Hulkbuster armor has to be, it has to be something that can match that kind of increase in Hulk. So Iron Man makes this with Bruce Banner, who is the Hulk. He makes it with Bruce Banner's kind of recommendations. So there are many versions of Hulkbuster armor, and most of them aren't that effective. But anyway, so what we're seeing in Marvel Strike Force, what we're seeing in the MCU, Mark 13, Mark 34, one or the other. The first appearance of the Hulkbuster is in Iron Man 304, May 1994. That's actually what this picture of the Hulkbuster is from. Is right there. This one on the picture is from Iron Man number 304, which is pretty cool. So yeah, been around. So the Hulkbuster armor has been around since 1994. And also put in perspective, Iron Man hit the scene in 1962, so he was only on number 13, his 13th suit, from 1962 to 1994. Powers and abilities. Super Strength Plus. This has all of the abilities of typical Iron Man costumes. It has nanites that kind of burrow into the Hulk's skin, and a lot of the different Hulkbuster armors have different powers. So I'm going to talk about different Hulkbuster armors, not just the Mark 13. But namely, the main feature of the Hulkbuster is that it is extraordinarily durable. It's got to take the hits from the Hulk. Right, so every version of it is made to take as much impact as humanly, as comic bookily possible. Aliases, Veronica. There isn't really many aliases that you can really give to it, but in the MCU, since it's really the only alias I could find, Iron Man refers to it as Project Veronica, and it's Veronica. Here's the story and joke behind that. Why it's Project Veronica. You could take it to the bank. Here you go. So, the Hulk, Bruce Banner's love is Betty Ross. Betty Ross, and so Iron Man calls it Project Veronica because Archie has a thing with Betty and Veronica in the Archie comics. So it's literally named after Veronica in the Archie comics. So Project Veronica from the MCU, that is Hulkbuster. That's what he says in Avengers Age of Ultron when they first kind of introduced the Hulkbuster. Affiliations, Avengers and Hall of Armor. Once again, it's not a person. And the Argonauts, the one time it sort of has the Hulkbuster has a sentience, it it's a part of some of a collection of Iron Man's armor called the Argonauts, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. But in the Hall of Armor is the hall, or 2 halls in the MCU that Iron Man uses. That's where he keeps all of his armor, and it sort of is its team on its own. If you recall Iron Man 3 in the MCU, he has the House Party Protocol where all the he uses AI to control the suits, and they all attack at once. That is the Hall of Armor as a team. And then the Avengers, just because it is used specifically by the Avengers to stop Hulk. Background: Buster suits. Here is the coolest thing about... So Iron Man has such versatile suits. He's a Batman character. He's got plans on plans on plans. Hulkbuster is not the only Buster suit, y'all, which is really cool. I think there's actually, since making this, I think I've found more Buster suits, but these are Buster suits that I'm aware of outside of Hulkbuster. So Plastic Ghost is one. This is one that might not be as well known. Plastic Ghost is a Buster suit. So like I said, it's a line of Iron Man suits, the Buster suits. The Plastic Ghost is a Black Panther Buster, right? It's a mega stealth suit. Just used to counteract. It's able to take the attacks from vibranium claws, and is extremely heavily stealth, so you could sneak up on him. So the plastic suit is a Black Panther Buster suit. The Thor Buster, kind of self-explanatory. It is made to specifically counter the God of Thunder, Thor, right? The Phoenix Killer, another Buster suit. It's for Jean Grey's Phoenix. Big power suit. I also want to point out that the Buster suits do not have a good track record. They don't typically work that well. Plastic Ghost has been used a few times, and I think it was pretty successful. But Thor Buster didn't work out. Phoenix Killer definitely didn't work out. There's the Ultron Buster, which is literally a high-tech internet EMP kind of situation, analog situation that Ultron can't interfere with. Also not super effective. That's the best thing about the Buster suits. Even the Hulkbuster, really not that effective overall. Yeah, not a good track record with the Buster line. Model 41, or a Mandarin Buster. And I believe there are even some more outside of that. So definitely check into it. You can find lists of all of Iron Man's armors. You can find them in the MCU, but they're not as great as far the MCU, because he really doesn't dive into too many. He only uses, I think, 9 different suits throughout the MCU. But anyway, so yeah, those are the Buster suits. So they're just the very specific suits that Iron Man uses for specific enemies. The ones being listed being Black Panther, Thor, Phoenix, Ultron, and the Mandarin, and of course, the Incredible Hulk. Alright, modular suit. It is made with the intent that the wearer is in another suit. This is not typically, and you actually see it in the MCU a little bit, but not really. This is typically a suit that is made to be used with another suit, for the fact that the idea being that the Hulkbuster suit might not work, right? And so if you're a person inside this can fighting the Hulk, what happens when the Hulk overpowers you? He rips open the can that you have found yourself in, and he then rips you open, and you're dead, right? So this being a modular suit, so with the Mark 13, there's a Mark 13 suit that Iron Man wears, and he uses other suits with it as well, but originally designed as a Mark 13 suit that sits inside of the Hulkbuster. It's just a regular suit of his. In the event that the suit gets ripped off, he can fly away and get away. He loses the strength, but he gains mobility. He's faster. So it's very important that you're in another suit. In the MCU, we see Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster, because in the MCU in Age of Ultron, we see Tony in a suit within Hulkbuster, as is normal. In the MCU, I believe it was Endgame, we see Hulk, or Bruce Banner, in the suit without a suit, so there's no backup plan. Granted, if the Hulk is in the Hulkbuster, there really doesn't need to be a backup plan, because even though Hulk wasn't participating, I don't have proof of this, but I don't think Hulk would have let him die. So that's important to kind of consider. Hulkbuster. These are different models, and I've got pictures of them. There is more than one Hulkbuster. They look different, they function different, they act different, they have different levels of success. So these are the different what you see here are the different model numbers or mark numbers of Iron Man suits that are also Hulkbuster. So you got the Model 13, which is what we're looking at here. We've got the Model 31 Hulkbuster, the Model 36 Hulkbuster, Mark II. So he names his suits either Mark or Model. Mark II, Model 36 Hulkbuster Mark II. So it's the second version of the Hulkbuster. The other ones are also Hulkbusters, but they are part of the Hulkbuster line. So Model 44 and Model 52. Right, so we're going to talk a little bit. We've been talking about 13 a lot. We've been talking about 13 a lot. We're going to talk about Model 52 a bit here coming up. But those are the different versions of Iron Man suits. He goes all the way up to Model 50, I believe, right now. He may have some more past that, but famously, 50 sort of if you look back at the Frosty Features Iron Man, 50 sort of like his epitome suit. It's his greatest achievement. So this 52, he hasn't gone too much past that. So 52, to my knowledge, is the newest Hulkbuster and the most up to date. So we'll talk about that here in a second. And the note was on the notes. So these, what we're looking at here are we've got our, on the far left is the Model 13. Next is, let me double check, is the Model 31, which is what we're using in World War Hulk. So we got Model 13, Model 31. We have our Model 44, which is that black one, and the one on the end is Model 52. So those are so they vary different quite a bit in what they look like, right? So that's really important to remember. So notable events involving the Hulkbuster, the Argonauts in World War Hulk. So the Argonauts are a team of, so as I said, the Buster armors were like a line. The Argonauts are a line of Iron Man armors. So these armors were never used in battle, but they ended up gaining sentience and attacking. So what we've got the submarine armor, the digger armor, stealth armor, and the battle armor, which is from left to right there. And at the center, we have our Hulkbuster armor, which is very, very strong situation. Various heroes. So after they gained sentience and they started kind of wreaking havoc, we had a bunch of different heroes. Namor, The Thing, Fantastic Four, Iron Man himself, She-Hulk, a lot of different heroes kind of come out to try to take these Argonauts that gain sentience down. The only one that is never taken down is the Hulkbuster armor. So this is actually debatably the most successful Hulkbuster armor because no one can take it down. All the other ones get kind of taken down one way or the other, different superheroes. But Iron Man had to take down the Hulkbuster, and he does not beat it physically. No one ends up beating Model 52 physically. He realizes that he has, because in Model 50 Iron Man suit, he starts using psionic abilities to control his suits, right? So 52, therefore, is psionically controlled. So even though it has its own sentience, Iron Man realizes that if he essentially takes himself out, he takes the armor out. So he shoots him in the face. Tony Stark shoots himself in the face and takes himself out of commission, therefore taking out the Hulkbuster. Right, so nobody actually overcomes Model 52. So that's just kind of a cool thing. So then World War Hulk, which is that model, that second one from the left. World War Hulk is when Hulk comes back from Sakaar, and he's all trapped. He's essentially Hulk that learned to fight. So he comes and he's trying to get revenge on everybody on the planet Hulk people, everyone that sends him away, so that because he's too much, he's too dangerous or whatever. So this is the Hulkbuster suit that Iron Man made for essentially that attack. This was by far the least successful Hulkbuster armor. It got destroyed quickly. He punches Hulk. He punches Hulk something like a mile or something away. Hulk comes back and essentially proceeds to rip him apart. So it was very not successful. Yeah, but it's the only one it's quite different, and it's one of the I personally prefer the shape of the Hulkbusters where you could actually see Iron Man's like regular head. But yeah, so that's where that is. So, power level. So, for Marvel Strike Force doesn't really dive too much into power levels, but for our sake, I like to kind of give it out. So, the way power levels work is I go from top to bottom. So, top being multiversal. Multiversal means you are a threat to reality as we know it, and anyone in any other universe may know it. So, you can end all of existence essentially just because you decided to. Universal, you are a trouble to your universe. Maybe you can end a universe, but then have to travel over to another universe to affect it one way or the other. Cosmic means you are a threat to celestial bodies, planetary bodies. You can take out a planet, or you can maybe be able to take, with a little effort, you could take out a galaxy or a solar system. Nuclear is equivalent to a nuclear bomb. You can level small cities all the way up to a full planetary body with enough coverage or effort. City is the most common power level in Marvel in general. So thinking about maybe Spider-Man or thinking about Daredevil, they're really good examples of city characters. You have the power to maybe take out a wall, like a solid brick or concrete wall. And with enough effort, maybe taking out a building or a city block. And then there's Greg. Greg is the undead Asgardian that Hela spawns in Marvel Strike Force. If I had a Leatherman and a large spatula, I might be able to take out Greg, because for the sake of argument, he is the strength of a human. So, just keeping in mind that Greg is the power of a human. So with Iron Man, we talked earlier about Iron Man being limited to a nuclear power. Hulkbuster really is no different. There's a lot of power in there and there's a lot of strength, but Hulkbuster has nothing in his arsenal to take out more than maybe a city block. Lots of strength, but not being able to, or I guess the best way to look at it is he wouldn't be able to destroy a planet. Obviously Iron Man has a lot more influence than that. We talked a lot about influence in the Iron Man Frosty feature. Hulkbuster is its own thing and it has a very specific purpose. So it only really has the strength of a nuclear bomb, which a nuclear bomb is essentially what created the Hulk. So, it's a good equivalent. It's a really strong suit. Nonetheless, nuclear is nothing to sniff at. But yeah, so that's Frosty Features Hulkbuster. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know what your favorite Hulkbuster moment is in the comments. Let me know if I got something wrong, if I missed something, if I left something out that really should have been there. I'm excited to see Bionic Avengers and Hulkbuster come to the game. And yeah, so yeah, give your boy a like, give me a subscribe here on YouTube. I also stream on Twitch 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on Sunday at the link above. Let me know what you thought. I'm excited to kind of do this. It was, Hulkbuster is not a person, so there was a little bit of different of the format. Let me know if you prefer this format. Cool. But thank you all so much. I hope you all have a nice day, and most importantly, y'all, stay cool.